There's my guy.
How you doing? Here we go again. One
Here we go
more.
again. One more.
How you been?
I'm doing good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Excited to hit the ground running with this thing, man.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll officially get started. You know me, but in case I'm not your Chambers Big Old Belt Media here, super excited to have a long-term friend back to talk about his latest project, which man injected in my blood. I was
Hmm.
so happy to check this one out, and you should too, folks. Heart Eyes coming to theaters February 7th, just in time to take your loved ones on a Valentine's Day date. The perfect movie to check out for it. Josh Ruben, our director, the man that wears a bunch of hats, shall I just say, but director writer for this one. As I said, my buddy. Josh, before I even let you speak, let me just say that I was overwhelmed by everything that has happened in LA for the many people affected, but it just hits a little different when it's somebody that I've seen you work from the bottom up to
Hmm.
achieve everything you achieved. And I swear at night when I saw the post, I just was just thinking just how unfair this was. But if I know one thing about you, you bounce back both
Hmm.
artistically and I know in life. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I have nothing but love and sympathy for everything for you and your family through the tragic events of those insane wildfires out in LA. And I'm deeply sorry it had to happen to you, brother.
Oh man, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that. We are counting our blessings. We were in a different position. We still lost some stuff, but we hadn't fully moved into our first house. So it was different than folks who lost generations of
Yeah,
stuff or, anyone with kids who woke up without a school.
yeah,
But it was still terrible, and I'm just I'm most grateful to have this distraction that the movie,
yeah,
the emotional low is countered by the emotional high of like releasing this movie because the movie is such a joy, and I like making movies that are like an escape, and it
yeah.
really is an escape. I've been watching it every time we show it to an audience. People like, "Aren't you sick of it yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but to see it spread the kind of joy that it does has
Yeah.
just been just a very welcome distraction. But thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. You're one of my favorite actors, one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite writers. I mean, anything that you do, I'm easily signing up for. And because you just make movies for me, and you're right. It's across the board a very horrific time for humanity. And while this film definitely has its relevance to Valentine's Day, I think it's just a perfect movie across the board to watch, regardless of the Valentine's Day theme. And that's just what you continue to do from Where Was Within, Scare Me, and then the roles that you take. And I say it, I'm saying on the record now because we already talked, but I tell you folks, I challenge you to put any actor against Josh. He is the most unhinged character building performers I've ever seen. And when it comes
Oh
down to
man,
these persons, you're
wow.
like, man, I like that person. Then next thing you know, he's just a whole different beast. Then it's Josh, man. You
Man,
you do it better than no. You're literally the bar, my brother. I
come
mean
on, dude. Oh
I
my
mean
God,
it.
that's very kind of you. Oh
I
man, I
mean
mean, I love to do it. I love to do it. I don't, that's why I still keep a foot in like the comedy world, and still do stuff when they ask me to do like drop out and
yeah.
short films, and really anytime anybody wants me to come play, I'm super down because it just makes me happy. I really appreciate that, man. That's too much.
Absolutely, man. Now, you're such a I know you're such a fan to this genre and all you've done. And I said this at this point now, we've done almost seen it all when it comes to slashers. It's typically the
Hmm.
same thing. But recently, I would even go to a Violent Nature with their introduction of Johnny. I thought was Chef's Kiss. And then with this,
Hmm.
and I'm like, all right, we have another slash, but it's Josh. So let me see what he's going to bring different. Because at some point now, it's the tropes have already been worked 1,000 times over. I want to know for
Hmm.
you, and again, for just your appreciation for the genre, how exactly did you know you want to approach in terms of bringing, I keep calling him the HBK, which also kind of works as well too, but
It's
but
almost to be. It's almost to be just two little halvesies.
but what was your approach in terms of wanting to introduce them and the aesthetic and how you really wanted to set them apart?
That's a great question. I knew we wanted to treat that first reveal as epically as possible. So, like, just working my way backwards from the composer, my buddy Jay Wadley, who used to do me favors, like with College Humor videos back in the day. Just conversations about it, with him talking about the rom-com music, like the Alan Silvestri kind of vibe, then being able to morph into this almost like evil slasher kaiju, big brassy kind of a feel, lends so much to it. It also isn't synthy, it doesn't step on Carpenter's toes or anything like that. So that was it musically, and then aesthetically, I mean, we always knew we wanted to kind of homage a little bit of Hellraiser, a little bit Clive Barker, a little bit The Miner from My Bloody Valentine. And so there was a whole spectrum of stuff that we tried. But the studio was like, okay, maybe that's too kinky or too much leather or too, sexy killer. Now it's maybe too stylish in the other direction. And ultimately, like our costume designer, Jandra Watson, oh, I'm sorry, I keep calling her Watson. Jandra, no, it is Jandra Watson. Guys, spend a minute. Jandra found this amazing coat, and in the interior of the coat was this fur, and it just gave it this great texture. But ultimately, the thing that we really worked our way back from was Tony Gardner's mask. I mean, he just, this is a horror legend in his own right. He's worked on everything from The Blob to Hocus Pocus and Darkman and,
Yeah.
the Chucky series. And he just tried all these renders, and we just landed on this face that just kind of gave us all the chills.
Yeah, yeah. The next step of this is the cosplay, because as the audience and the
What you
consumers,
want.
yeah, how you feel about that? Being able to see like your artwork really come to life in that form.
Incredible. I got it in dribs and drabs with, a little bit of scare me stuff, like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
looking for, Aya's sweater, and a little bit with like I really wanted that with Sam Richardson and Milana's characters and werewolves. I specifically, had our wardrobe team kind of create characters and looks that you could recreate that almost look like action figures,
yeah.
and that you could dress up for Halloween. But this one is, this is the most blatant Halloween costume, quote unquote, one that hopefully will be mass produced. And it just, I mean, it gives me chills because that's the dream. That's all I have ever wanted. I am like such a nerd, I lost a lot of my nerd stuff in the fire, and I'm like, oh man, if this movie does really well, I can finally someday like get, my space like I always admire yours,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
able to be like, yeah, here's the stuff that, is kind of the representative of the trajectory I've had, but to get to this place where now people might look at this thing, are looking at this thing going, how can I dress up like that?
You
That's
know
when
it.
you know you're onto something, right?
Yeah.
Culturally.
Yeah, you know it. You're definitely locked in on that. You don't have to worry about that one at all.
Mhm.
I heard people even in my screening talking about like, yo, I think this is going to be like the next big cosplay. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
as creepy as it
good.
is, but as awesome as it will be.
So good. So good.
Um, another thing I really attest to you, and this is not like to anybody, but like I think you do the best job, and when it comes down to the cast that you always really have together, like you have the vets that's been in the game for a while, but then you also have folks that may be still getting their reps in, and then you make them shine, and then for any critic, journalist, whoever, you kind of look at their the IMDb. And you're like, 4 movies? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at your leads here in Olivia and Mason, who I mean, they carry this movie. And that's just two
Mm-hmm.
names to the other names we'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about in a second. I wanted to tell you this, and I wanted to especially save it for our chat was this. I feel like you do such a fantastic jobs in putting people in position to succeed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what is that sort of conversation that you have with folks in terms of them buying into your vision, but also allowing them to do what they do best?
That's an awesome question. I so appreciate you acknowledging that. I mean, my biggest thing as an actor that's moved into a career in filmmaking is that I want to cast people who haven't had the opportunity to do things previously. I feel like on the massive scale, Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan give actors an opportunity. Like I feel like those guys in particular, what they do is like they give folks a second chance.
Mhm.
People like Michael Madsen and Daryl Hannah and Rutger Hauer and Matthew Modine, you see them pop up in these big movies
Yeah.
suddenly. And it's not like people like Devon and Jordana need a second chance. I mean, they've been movie stars for a while, but you know, I cast them out of my abject fandom, uh, and having almost, essentially grown up with Devon. I mean, I mentioned the other day that, he's probably the most beloved just by virtue of how many generations, it's just a couple, but generations of adoration through his work in the genre. And Jordana, I mean, I've probably seen The Faculty for as many Fast and Furious movies as exist. But Mason and Olivia is like they I knew that they were talented. I just wanted them to be good people. It was a total gamble that they got off the plane and they were as good as they were, and they were as good as with each other as they were. And that Gigi Zimbardo, who came from completely out of left field, thanks to Mary Verneau and Brett Howard, casting directors,
Yeah.
and it was just like, well, why the hell not? Why shouldn't we give them an opportunity? No one ever questioned giving my cast a shot. No one ever questioned wanting to keep it as diverse as we've kept it. No one ever questioned giving anyone an opportunity to play something different that they hadn't before, which is very, very good. That's progress. But I'm never not gonna do that. That never won't be my North Star because I love actors. And
Yeah.
when I see talent, and I have the opportunity to make people look good and give them an opportunity to play, like basically it's everything I've ever wanted,
Yeah.
so it's me living vicariously, giving people a platform.
Go see the damn movie, folks. This man is beautiful.
Yes.
I tell you all the time, man. This is it. This is not from my mouth. You hear it from him right now. This has been the same story every single film, from the big theater releases to the independent ones. It's the same story. You have not changed at all when it comes down to your mission statement there.
Mm.
I gotta tell you something else you're very generous about. The hippie van kill is so goddamn good. And I'm like, yeah, Chainsaw Wars, go ahead and load that one up right now. That's the one. What I did not realize until maybe yesterday or whatnot, it's in the damn trailer.
They put the whole thing in the Red Band trailer, and
Crazy.
they put most of it in the trailer, and I was like, that is a testament to Sony marketing. That is Sony Screen Gems marketing doing the damn thing. They're also sending pink vibrators to certain influencers, which is probably the most incredible thing. Like to be on a marketing call with all them being like, we had to get permission to do this from like the higher ups. What I think that means is ultimately what's that a testament to is that people are having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like even the people on the inside, even the people at the studio, and you hear them be like, it's not always like this.
Yeah.
I they're having fun with it. We're having fun with it, and they're just like, you gave us so much to work with, and that's also what Chris Landon and Michael Kennedy had inherently in the script, you know. And I just want to keep going. If we get the chance to do it again, there's so much, clearly so much more you can do. So let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And again, the point here, folks, is to give away such a fantastic kill in a trailer lets you know that's the tip of the iceberg of some other very fantastic ones that certainly going to have you clenching your seat a little harder. Yeah, I was like, wow, wow, they're not playing, and I love that for you to make sure you're marketed properly here.
Mm.
Going back to Jordana and Devon here. I said this in my review, and then I like also kind of like broke the fourth wall. And I was just like, yeah, their names is Detective Hobbs and Detective Shaw. Josh, what? How did you land on this joke? And I gotta know, when Jordana first looked at it, what was her thoughts about it? And to the point of her even mentioning she didn't see it, it's
Dude,
got to be the longest running joke ever.
we didn't know it was going to be her. That was just a joke that Michael and Chris really wanted. And the scripts are like, well, whoever we get. And then when we found Jordana was free, we were like, well, this would be insane. She didn't bring it up. And I didn't really think about it because I was juggling all these other things. And then honestly, and it was the moment that we were doing it that it then occurred to me like, oh my God, she's in this franchise. Um, and it's just to see like from essentially the first test screening that it was like one of the biggest laughs was amazing. It
So
was so funny. It was so funny. And they
good.
loved it and they deliver it great,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I'm such a huge Fast and Furious fan, and
Hmm.
it was yeah, it's Chef's kiss there. Um, Again, folks, February 7th, go check out Hard Eyes. Stick all the way through the very end because for my
Hmm.
next question, I have got to ask, what is the plan for sequel universe?
For
What you want to do
more,
to span here? More is the word, more.
I think it's just more. I think I'll say this. No one said anything to me officially, but there's it's just been so heartening that there's been so much enthusiasm. Certainly every critic I've spoken to
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like, okay, so you know that you could do more, and you know that we're all kind of ravenous for it. The only thing I'll say is that my North Star would be to never shortchange either genre so that you deliver on the rom-com every time and you don't necessarily wink at it so intensely every time and you floor it on the horror. So if you really treat it like almost like two movies in that respect, you make a slasher and you make
yeah,
a Nora Ephron rom-com. That way you're promising a really multifaceted experience to
yeah,
everybody. You're getting even more demographic because you're going, I mean, yeah, I can't really do blood, but I love the sweet stuff. And then some people are like, I don't love the sweet stuff, but the gore is so good, I can't
yeah,
not go again. And it's a fast movie,
yeah.
too. I'd want number two to be a tight 90, once again, because people got places to be, and it also just encourages you want to put the movie on again, in the background.
You know it. You know it. The man of the people there. Um, and because this film definitely doesn't well, let's just say this, the HEK, our eye killer,
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily sit in just one location. Um,
Yeah.
where are you thinking if you had to put him somewhere, where would you want it to be here?
Oh my God, I've got many, many images in my mind. But I don't want to say too much because what I want to do is like pull a Cloverfield and just have people like, wait, I didn't get any announcement. I didn't get anything. You just go see some great movie. You go
Yeah.
see the next like Godzilla and you're like, a trailer for, or first you think it's like a trailer for some rom-com and then like, wait, what? Like those red eyes in the background. That's my dream. Like I'll never forget where I was like watching the trailer for like Cloverfield.
Yeah,
It's like,
same.
wait, 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 what is this movie gonna be?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just surprises. I don't know. I want that. That's just as much of a. It's like the foreplay. Forgive the term for like for the great moment of the movie. It's like that. The movie is the whole ride. It's the marketing too. You have to take that stuff into consideration. That's something I'd love to. That's a conversation I'd love to have on the early side.
Yeah, which is interesting because like horror has become so mainstream and so much in the forefront. And as you can even see now,
Mhm.
folks, even in 2025, like the biggest movies have been horror movies. And yes, the marketing is getting more and more creative, and the fans, we're just eating it up. Just give it to us.
Yeah.
Like we're in
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote this in my questions, and I'm like, how do I say this like right? But I just shoot from the hip here. This
Yeah.
movie is such a Josh movie to the point that I'm like, how did you not insert yourself into it? How is there not an instance where you like, you know what? Let me get a quick scene or did I miss something?
You may have the line is about this quick. So
Okay.
there's a couple things. I'll give you the exclusive on this. I'm the voice of Hard Eyes. So that's a little it's a vocal modulator that Brett Bachman, our editor, put on it that I love because it's also very separate from Scream and it's evocative of like ransom or something. It's evocative of like a really kind of an ugly kidnapper, something truly, truly villainous. It's not entirely, it's a little playful in its performance. So there's that. I do have a tiny line, a little cameo as moviegoer number two who goes, "Holy shit, someone call 911." So it's like super fast. I had my hair all down on my face. And then there's one line at the drive-in that gets a laugh that's off camera, and I'm very, very
Oh
proud of
yes.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about. That's
yeah.
that's the that's what I've been trying to figure out. How do I word that? And I really don't think I know exactly the term, but like I love when a
Mm,
good comedy has the forefront dialogue. But if and I say this in my
yep.
review, if you laugh a little too long, you're gonna miss another like little nugget in the back that's definitely
It's
gonna
great.
throw you as well. I
It's
love it.
great. you want to build that stuff in. That's why sound design is
Yeah.
so important in movies.
Oh,
It did
and
the
the
same
sound
thing in
design
Werewolves.
here in this one. Woo.
Yeah,
Knife
man.
across the table.
Yeah, yeah, we wanted to just like straight medieval, But like we mixed it down in New Zealand with the same team that did Lord of the Rings. Michael Hedges was our lead mixer, and it was just to hear how that music and how it all kind of felt in the room. You want to feel, the subwoofer and just kind of activating it so that you really feel the movie
Yeah.
was so powerful. But you can't leave any stone unturned. I'll never forget one of my favorite jokes from Werewolves Within was George Basil just came into the ADR and he went, "What did her eyeball say? What did her eyeball say?" It's just like when Rebecca Henderson, you just see her eye, her eye through this gunshot in the door. And it was just another moment where it's like, well, the picture's locked, and it's just another way you elevate the movie. It's like we came up with that like minutes before we locked the thing. George just made everybody laugh. And the
Yeah.
same thing happened here. It's, just try and squeeze as much out of it as you can.
Yeah, the old school with me, like I fell in love with that type of humor and almost satire from like going back to like the hot shot days and airplanes where like you got the forefront humor, but like you gotta pay attention because you're going to get some nonsense in the background
Yes,
as well
dude.
too.
Yes, dude.
Um, two last questions for you. First
Hmm.
thing is, what is your statement with metal straws, Mr. Environmentalist? What's your take on this here? Because that's such a important theme. I'm sure folks sort of gravitate to in this.
I mean, she's just a good girl trying to do a good thing. What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. She's just trying to be good. That's just Allie's little quirk. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? I have no comment.
One thing I thought about the HEK sort of theme is like he doesn't like people that's in love, right? So like if you're out here going out on Valentine's Day, holding hands, all that lovey-dovey stuff, he's out to get you. What I thought was interesting in the very beginning, when we got reports from the news reporters in terms of what his motives were and what he's done. What made you almost reel back that theme in terms of letting him decide to not only go after folks in love, but also anybody else? Because I thought what could have been interesting was to see him have conflict. To be like, huh, are y'all in
Mm,
love? Okay, you're a victim. But if you're not in love, you're good. I'll leave you alone here. And
mm.
I think what it really hit me was the drive-in part. Because I'm just like, I can't wait to see him sort of like delineate who's here on the date and
Yep.
who's just here alone. So
Yep.
I'm wondering what made you reel back sort of that initial theme, and then it's in the film, so it's not a slight to what happened, but it's like I'm wondering what made you decide to add that other part to say like he's also very unbiased, like anybody could get it.
The rule, it's an awesome question. The rule that we've created or that emerged as we were even making the film was he will kill any couple. He will target a couple and he will kill them and anyone who gets in his way. And so that's why the drive-in scene in particular, I treated the whole thing as much like the beach scene in Jaws as I
Yeah.
could, that he has this kind of eye on the target and he moves like a shark. There's something that
Hmm.
Jay did with the music that's kind of feels very John Williams-esque in a way. And then even when well, I can't say much more about it. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but there are other homages. And So yeah, I think that worked. The ultimately we took comfort in the drive-in being as much of a massacre as it is, and that I can say because that's in the trailer, is that it's a Valentine's Day event. So he gets there, and if anything, the conflict is yes, I'm chasing this one couple, but he's looking around, he's like, oh my God, there really is a buffet here.
Yeah.
There's
I
like I
love that
have
line.
I have choices, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So we'll see how the motives, change if I get to do it
Mm.
again.
Mm. There's so much I can say, but I will stick a fork in it there because the third act is just off the rails. And I just want to say from Olivia Mason, from Devon, Jordana, especially Devon and Jordana, act here really showed the side of me that I just got so much appreciation for the vets and what they've done, but also for Olivia Mason really stepping up to the
Mm.
plate and knocking it out. The third act is fantastic. But yeah, Josh, man, we can talk on and on and on, but
I
I just
know,
want
I
to
know.
again say congratulations on this one.
Thank you.
What
Thank
might
you.
be coming next is you're not a man that's sitting still for long. Are you getting in front of the camera again soon? You behind the camera? What we got?
Behind right now, I've just got it was kind of amazing. 'Cause normally the beginning of the year is so dry for
Yeah,
everybody, because people there's Sundance and this, that, and the other thing, they're figuring out what their budgets are and everything. And we've all been worried about California and are we going to be in production here and this, that, and the other thing. And so I am continuing my ambassadorship with AMC to do branded scary shorts with them, which is really awesome. We're hoping to get a couple of them off the ground this year, but I started that partnership with them last year. So we have a kind of mission that every gig that we do, we're going to do in Los Angeles. So we'll be
nice.
bringing as much production as we can. We got to do one last year, which was amazing, and then obviously I bounced for 4 months to make the movie. Um, but I've been commissioned to write. I think it's my first commission to write a screenplay. So there'll hopefully be more about that soon. It's very different. I wouldn't call it horror. I would call it genre. It's a little more younger audience leaning, but still a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm excited to just try different stuff. I'm still very keen to adapt Scare Me into a play. And if this thing emerges as a franchise, I'm there. I'm back. We've already been talking, so
All
that's the dream.
right.
Let's hope it actually goes through.
My man. Josh, thank you so much for your time. Once again, Hard Eyes in theaters February 7th. You won't get murdered taking your loved one there, but you will might be tested in terms of what's to come next with that. It's
Mm.
such a fun time, and it's definitely a pleasure to see you continue to work and putting out these so entertaining projects made specially for me is how I feel.
Oh man, thank you. And a pleasure to talk with you always, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely, Josh. Take care and thank you so much for your time today.
All right, you too, Najir. Have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Bye. Dude.